Hello everyone, welcome to the media. Before I start the second video, I just want to preface by saying that I'm not a licensed financial investor. The content of my video are my opinion only and for educational purposes. Having said that, some of you have reached out to me and wanting to say that you are motivated to invest in the stock market and was asking for trade platforms that I use. I recently transferred over to Webull and have been using this trade platform. I really like it. So I decided to include a link below. So if you join Webull, following my link, I think you'll get 3 or 4 free stocks, and one of which could be worth like $1,600. So it's definitely worth it. All you have to do is like deposit $100. That's it. After you start the account. Also, if you like the content, yesterday's content, please remember to subscribe. I think the subscription will sort of help motivate me to do research and produce similar content that I think would be helpful for me, but also helpful for you guys if you guys find it helpful. The content for today's video is based off of an event that happened to me this morning. Some of my friends reached out to me yesterday to say, "Oh man, Andrew, the video from yesterday was just shaking so much, so it was really difficult for them to pay attention." And so I decided to go to Best Buy to buy a tripod. And while there, at the cash register, I realized I didn't bring my wallet. So I freaked out a little bit. I was like, I didn't want to go home just to grab my wallet to pay for this. It's just so annoying because as some of you guys may know, I ride a motorcycle. I don't have a car. It's getting a bit cold here, so I want to avoid being outside as much as possible. Luckily, I remember that I had created a digital wallet about 2 years ago, but I've never used it. Pulled it out, and it actually worked. I had my MasterCard on there and was able to pay and got home. Then it got me to think, oh man, this fintech industry is really innovative and very, very convenient. I cannot believe that I did not consider this. So I got home and started to do some research. But prior to that, I have been thinking about the pandemic, the whole thing, and how should I invest in post-pandemic. And but let me talk about the post-pandemic strategy, and then I'll talk to you about the fintech industry. I think is going to be the leader. I was thinking, okay, any sort of economy that's recovering from some sort of like major event, a world war of some kind, how do they get back on their own feet? So I started looking up YouTube videos on Japan after the bombing of Hiroshima, and discovered that after that whole situation, there were a lot of transformative ideas that came out that actually helped Japan recover, and not only recover, but sort of catapulted them to greater heights. I didn't have a chance to read through all of it, but one of the things that stuck to my mind was Japan during the feudal system, farmers were not allowed to own land. So they were tilling the land, but they didn't have a sense of ownership. So I think that affected production. After post World War II, the farmers were allowed to have land, and after that, production just skyrocketed because in the sense of ownership, democracy started, capitalism started, and all of that. And so I took a hard look at businesses, things that I think were impacted by the pandemic, and I thought, oh, the small businesses were impacted by the pandemic the most. And the fintech, the company that caters to small businesses, is Square. And I read through Square, did some research, and I am very excited about Square now. Square, not only do they cater to small businesses, they have created 2 successful ecosystems and continue to innovate and prepare for the transition, just as Elon Musk did when he was preparing us for electrification. For example, Elon Musk he built supercharging stations. He's in the process of building batteries, FSD, the energy storage, and all of that. So in order for it to be a transformative innovation, you have to have the infrastructure. So speaking of digital payment and what Square did in order to be sort of on the same level is that they have created the consumer ecosystem and the merchant ecosystem and provided services, essentially full services for the two separate ecosystem. So for example, for the merchant side, they have softwares for retail businesses, for restaurants. So for instance, if you open a restaurant, they're going to have software that can provide payroll, invoices, payment, and these types of things to help you start a business. So services from A to Z, and it's very clean, it's very sleek, it's very nice, and it's very complete. But one of the innovations, one of the idea that really caught my attention that I think is sort of like the $1 million idea is Square Capital. So Square Capital essentially allows Square to act as a digital bank, providing loans to these small businesses based on data that they've gathered from the transactions via the digital payments. So with that sort of like hard data, they can assess the level of risk for any small businesses. And I learned that they would then, if they decide to provide loans for the small businesses, then they would sort of sell that to a third party to share the level of risk. So if fintechs or Square is acting as a fintech loaner for small businesses, they are disrupting normal banks. And that's going to change the way we look at normal banks. And I think it's going to make normal, your brick and mortar banking financial institutions obsolete. And I think that is where this innovation is disruptive, just like Tesla. In fact, if we talk about Tesla, California have already made it illegal for cars with a combustion engine to be on the road by 2035. So in the same way, I think Square Capital is going to destroy all the banks. But for purposes, if we invest in them, then obviously that's a good thing for us. Now on the customer side, I think Square is trying to emulate the WeChat Pay in China that has just gone, like crazy popular, and it's transforming digital payment in China, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But for now, the services that Square provides for the customer side is direct deposit, stocks, cryptocurrency, cash, and I think wiring. So essentially like a one-stop shop for digital payments activities that we all use. For instance, if we invest, for instance, the fintech that a lot of people are using now is Robinhood. So now Chase provides that ability to invest in the stock market, and then obviously with cryptocurrency, and then wiring and all of that. So it's expansive, and a lot of analysts are saying that the customer side, the cash pay, it's gaining momentum, and it's actually beginning to bring them more capital than the merchant ecosystem. And I agree with what they're saying, and the reason is WeChat Pay in China actually accounts for 80% of all digital payment services in China. And last year, they accounted for $37 trillion worth of transaction was on this platform. So needless to say, that is huge. So if Square can successfully beat their competitors like PayPal, and I think they will, then just the room for growth and the potential is just enormous. For that reason, I think that this is definitely a fintech company that I'm going to look at very, very seriously. In fact, I probably will be considering it on this coming Monday. Anyways, so that is what I have for this video. I hope that you enjoy the content. Feel free to comment below and remember to subscribe. Thanks again for visiting the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.